salsa up in Andy's. So salsa.
We're just finishing the next
So
two
this is-
shows out in the parking lot, taking pictures. Yeah.
Not a lot of.
Commissioner Matter. You know,
And I'm on time, so absolutely.
I didn't hear your question.
I'm excited about doing this pledge of allegiance.
Okay.
We're ready whenever we are.
Good evening and welcome to the September 25th, 2019 regular meeting of the Economic Development and Housing Commission. Tonight's agenda is available on the counter along with the request to speak cards. Commissioner Matters, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. A reminder to everyone that requests for speak cards should be completed and turned into the clerk prior to the completion of any staff presentation. For those speakers wishing to speak on items not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of this commission, please write item number on your card. All speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and televised, so all speakers, in order to be recognized, must be called on by the chair and come forward to the microphone. Speaking in public may cause some individuals to be uncomfortable, so everyone is asked to be professional and respectful. So the first item on the agenda tonight is general administration function. Presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction. The commission is prohibited by law from discussing issues not on the agenda and brought to them at this time. There are none. Am I correct? Okay, moving on to item 2. Consent agenda, consideration of approval of the July 24th, 2019 Economic Development and Housing Commission meeting minutes. Can I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes of July the 24th, 2019? No motion?
I move to approve the minutes.
Can I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Unanimous. Moving on to item 3. In the regular agenda, consideration of West Sacramento Chamber of Commerce annual report for contract services for July 1, 2018 through July 31st, 2019. The objective of this report is to provide the commission with an annual report of the activities conducted by the West Sacramento Chamber of Commerce Chamber in accordance with their contract for economic development services. Now, the recommendation, staff respectfully recommends that the Economic Development and Housing Commission, 1, receive a presentation by Denise Domke, Chief Executive Officer, West Sacramento Chamber of Commerce, regarding the annual report, and 2, vote to recommend that City Council accept the Chamber's annual report. So with that, will the speaker please step forward?
Good evening, Chairman Price and Commissioners. It is my pleasure to introduce Denise Domke to those of you who may not know her, of the West Sacramento Chamber, for her to present the annual report to you. We
Thank
are
you.
seeking Commission's consideration of this contract and a recommendation to the City Council. And I just want to say that the Chamber's collaboration with the city's Economic Development Department is a critical function for us. We have 1,700 businesses in the city, and there is no way that the city can actually connect with each of those businesses, and so the Chamber actually is an extension of our city's economic development functions. And it's a pleasure. Denise and I have been working together quite a lot lately. So with that, I turn the podium over to Ms. Domke.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Chairperson Price and Commissioners, for the opportunity to both present our annual report and answer any questions you might have about the report or the Chamber of Commerce. I thought, since there are several of you that I haven't had an opportunity to meet yet, I thought I might give you a little bit of background about the Chamber and then go through the highlights of this report and answer your questions. The state of California accepted the Articles of Incorporation of the Chamber, West Sacramento Chamber of Commerce. At that point, we were called East YOLO in 1948. We have 430 active and courtesy members. Of that membership, 29 of them are nonprofits. 30% of them are not physically located in West Sacramento, which gives this Chamber of Commerce an unusual regional influence based on our draw of a membership from a greater region. We are a 501c6. We have a board of directors that consists of 17 directors and officers. We also have an active seat on the Yolo County Workforce Investment Board, and also recruit, screen, and mentor employers in our role with the West Sacramento Home Run Initiative Second Base. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that we also publish 2,500 copies of West Sacramento Works magazine on a quarterly basis and distribute those to large employer groups, hospitality industry, doctor's offices, restaurants, almost anyone with a waiting room or a counter. And they generally disappear in about, we publish them quarterly, they generally disappear in about 10 to 12 weeks. It's a very popular publication. We also have over 10,000 hits a month on our website, primarily in our directory, helping local residents and visitors to our community, as well as regional interests, find their way through the business community in West Sacramento. I am a resident of West Sacramento for the past 16 years, and I've been involved in the Chamber of Commerce in one capacity or another, either on their board as a business owner, or for 20 years, the last decade of that, as president and CEO of the Chamber. As it relates to this report, this is our first annual report in a 2-year contract. And so I broke the report out by the deliverables that are called out in the original contract. You have that information with you. As a commissioner myself, I have an aversion of being read to by a report that I already read and have right in front of me, but I'll hit the high points and then happy to answer any questions at all that you might have, either about this report or the Chamber, and you can feel free to interrupt me as well. As it relates to the business visitations and support services that the Chamber provided in this first year, the contract calls out for us to have 1 a quarter visitations to a business. The Chamber had 10 business visitations, specifically 4 new businesses and 6 existing businesses in West Sacramento. We were referred those requests for visits through our electeds, through the city manager's office, through the economic development and housing department, and through other local residences and businesses. We provided support and mentoring and services for a variety of needs, and those are all called out in the report. In the interest of confidentiality, because of the nature of some of the help that we provided, I loosely and sometimes, although sometimes broadly enough, I think, describe the services in the report so that most folks that are involved with economic development or residents of the city are going to probably know who I'm talking about, but because it's part of the public record and because many of our conversations with these businesses are in confidence, I chose not to call it out. We have devised a new reporting mechanism for next year that'll give me a great deal more leverage to provide data related to it rather than topic related. We're also pleased to be producing a business resource seminar on October the 10th here at City Hall in the Galleria in collaboration with the city's Economic Development and Housing Department division. It will be, like all things West Sacramento, it will be agile, it will be nimble, we'll get straight to the point, and we won't take all day. So this is planned, I think we start at 11 and we end at 1. We have 2 panels and a box lunch. We have sent, the city provided us with a business license list. We went back to 2016 and sent out email invitations to every business license holder since 2016, used our list of 2,000 businesses and sent it out to them as well. We anticipate to have a great response. And our intention in all of this is many of what we do have the pleasure and opportunity to meet with the manager of the Economic Development Division as well as the director for that division monthly. And we found common themes in those conversations. And so we took the common themes and thought, how can we find 2 panels of experts that can help businesses get to yes in Westsac? And so that's the title. In the morning, the first panel represents the city. We have Dave Tilley will be there talking about the zoning portal. Seamus will be there talking about the business license, the online business license list. Randy Goodwin will be there to talk about pre-planning for the counter. Right, the things you need to know before you come in with documents, and also fire plans. And then Diane will be presenting on, I couldn't think of a really clear way to, but basically it's proactive real estate transactions, things you ought to know before you sign a lease. And then in the afternoon, SBDC will be there for business support. State of California Department of General Services will be there to talk about how to do business with the state, how to pre-qualify as a veteran-owned business, a woman-owned business, all of the ways that you can get an extra weighted application to participate. Siemens Mobility will be there, and then we'll have both Yellow Federal Credit Union and First Northern there to talk about banking and business capital and business loans, which are so important. So we're excited about that. We hope you have a chance to come by. The threshold to participate is $20. We wanted to make it accessible, but also have some value. So we'll stay tuned, watch the Chamber's Facebook page. We'll talk about all the success of this event, and we appreciate the city's collaboration. We do a few fun things in the Chamber. It's not just all meetings. We also are pleased to produce State of the City, which is the mayor's update for usually about 300 people. It's also televised. We've been coordinating that since its inception. We've listed for you the award winners from the last State of the City. And a thing of note is, as stipulated in this year's contract, because as you can imagine, if the mayor is talking to residents and the community and the region at large, because of the nature of the philosophy of the electeds currently in the city, they like to give credit where credit is due, and so you want a large group of city staff, directors, and that, that's a ticket. So we wrote that into this year's contract. So the city has 7 tables of 10, 70 representations. Many of you may have been there at State of the City for the mayor to recognize. We do the tree lighting. We do the Christmas tree lighting. We call it Winter Wonderland. It's always a big event. Our intention in Winter Wonderland is that we create an event that everyone is on the same playing field, that everyone in the community is welcome to. We have great entertainment from local schools and churches. Generally, there are 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 people in the street. We get the fire truck out, and every little kid that's there has an opportunity to sit on Santa's lap and talk to Santa and have their Christmas photograph taken, and there's no charge for that. So we're hoping to create traditions and memories for kids to help them identify, this is my place, this is where I live, right here, almost like a picnic. And this year, it will be on the 6th of December, and we invite you all to come out and bring your families. We have free coffee, free hot chocolate, free cookies, kids for activities. We have a group of vendors that sell, the only requirement is that they actually make and produce what they're selling. We think we'll probably have some wine tasting out there this year. It's a big event. We appreciate the support of YOLO Federal Credit Union, which presents and sponsors this event every year. And the mayor is there, and Santa comes in on a fire truck, and it's all big and lit up and kind of magical. So we look forward to that event every year. And then, of course, just as magical, without the lights, we do meet with the team from Economic Development and Housing on a monthly basis. And it gives us the flexibility to be able to move quickly, to talk about business and the success of business and areas that we can help each other with. We like to say at the Chamber, it's unusual for a Chamber of Commerce to have as successful a relationship with the city jurisdiction as we see in West Sacramento. And we like to say that we have an appropriate relationship. We always have a seat at the table. We may not always agree with each other. That just makes us sharper. So with that, it's really, I'm hoping there are questions, and I'm happy to answer any questions on either topic. If you've always wondered what a Chamber of Commerce does, and specifically what this one does, happy to talk about that as well.
Thank you. I guess I'll lead this off, or Commissioner Bell, you look like you were ready to jump in.
Hi, Cindy. I just want to say thanks for the background, that I did not know that Chamber has been here since 1949. I found that very interesting, and I just really happy to hear that that you have accomplished and all the success. And I don't think I really knew that you met monthly with Economic Development and Housing, but I think that is really, really awesome. And I'm really excited about your October 10th event. That sounds amazing. And I hope I can come just to learn more.
Thank you. You know, those early visionary folks that formed a Chamber of Commerce are also, almost 40 years later, the same group and or their families that helped the city become a city. And I think it set the tone for the relationship of the two organizations from the beginning.
Any other comments? You mentioned 10 visits under item A1, business visitations and support. Could you list those in the report, or at least enumerate?
I listed by description of the business and the services that we provided. On the first page, there were 2 new restaurants that requested assistance related to their certificate of occupancy and inspections. Mm-hmm. And I'm pleased to say that from the very first phone call, sometimes it's just a matter of knowing the lingo and picking up the phone. And in both of these instances, from the very first phone call, city staff was completely responsive and resolved their issues. We had what I called an in-service, that's because I spent too many years in healthcare. But basically, we had an international business that had a new CEO, and they asked that we come, and in fact, I think Diane joined us that day, and orient him, help acculturate him to the business community in West Sacramento, to housing, to, restaurants that are available, to key people that he needed to know at the city staff. We did have, I actually had 2 visits with a very large beer distributor. One, to just get an update, see how they were doing, find out about their over 300 employees. And the second, in connection to a warn notice that we received because they had been purchased by another company. And when that happens, everyone gets a warn notice. Everyone reapplies, everyone, unfortunately, they weren't all kept, so we lost a few jobs there, but we're working with the city and the county in finding employment for those employees.
So just as a general formatting issue, what you're telling me is business visitation and support and outreach to new business are one and in the same. Just as far as the deliverables, schedule of performance.
Right, well, and as I called out in the report, 4 of them were for new businesses, 6 of them were for existing businesses. The requirement is 4. What we have now, so now having gone through this process, one full time, we've developed a reporting form that you'll see in the next update that allows me to both notify the business, because a lot of this real estate transaction, landlord problems, it's confidential information, but we now, moving forward, have a format that I'll be able to use to give you data around numbers of employees, square footage in their facility, if they lease or own, plans for expansion, generic enough that it should be helpful moving forward.
Okay. I look forward to that. And then in the requirements for the annual report, there's really no nexus between the report and the $50,000. There's no expenditure, no burn rate, no what's left for next year.
What's left for next
It's a
year?
two-year
So
contract.
unlike a budget that might go to a state agency or a federal agency or even here in the city, this is and I'm going to count on Diane to jump in, but this is intentionally it is a contract for services that came to this group, was approved, and then went to council and was approved, and this is the mid-year touch-in that report. So, in services, I think that the city manager intentionally did not assign direct numbers to services. That changes the relationship between the nonprofit and the city, and so my opinion is, wow, what a deal.
I agree.
People on the city's side, I've not heard anything other than that, so.
Okay, those are my comments. Any?
So in the scope, you mentioned major employers for your business visitations. I was wondering what the threshold is to make an employer a major.
The city determines that list. We have a target list for this year moving forward. I think, and Diane will correct me, but typically it is I think that they take into consideration sales tax revenue, numbers of employees. If it's a target industry that we've been trying to attract to the city, those become major employees.
So
Yeah,
your
I'm
10
sorry.
visits were to major employers here in the city of West Sacramento?
Several of them were,
Okay.
yeah. At least 4 of them were, and I kind of called them out. Large beverage distributor, restaurant, maybe on the river, big RV facility,
Okay.
being as subtle as I could.
So, but that you're directed by the Economic Development and Housing Commission as to who's on your list to visit?
So in the year that is included in this report, it was a great deal of collaborative, moving, weaving, touching bases. Who can do this the most effectively? We need to, always the goal, we need to help this business, whether you're the guy who owns a gym, or you're the beverage distributor. We are as committed. If you have a problem, we're going to deal with that problem. Moving forward, we were able to identify a list of, I think it's 20 large targeted employers based on the plans for economic development and the city manager's office. And yeah, it's, 20 maybe? It was a big list, and we're already 3 into the list, so. Diana, is it?
Yeah, and I can augment that a little bit. I mean, this was the first year of kind of a revised scope of work, and so the monthly meetings were designed to coordinate with the chamber as to which businesses needed to be visited as a priority. Some of those were major employers in terms of a number of employees. And I should point out that many of our major employers actually are chamber board members, and so Denise has an ongoing relationship with them, so that provides an early warning system to us if, for example, we know about one very large employer that is planning an expansion. So what I've done going forward is to make it a little easier for the chamber to incorporate this into their daily work program and weekly and monthly work program. I've provided a list of major businesses that I wish them to target for visitation going forward. And I think, that's designed to make it easier on both parties. And as Ms. Domke pointed out, some of them may be major employers in terms of numbers of employees, but some of them may be major employers in terms of what they bring to the city in terms of either profile or target industry or revenue generation or their holdings in the city. So I've been a little bit generous in that term, major employer, but we do need help. We need to extend our reach into the business community because we don't have, 10 staff people to actually go out and visit every business every year. And so the chamber is out there every day and as I said, have these folks on their board. But I have provided a list, and I've also, we've worked together on kind of a reporting format that I think will address her appropriate confidentiality concerns. Because we do have public record acts and Public Record Act that we need to comply with, and this report becomes a public document. So I think going forward, we'll be able to list the major employers or the employers that have been visited in terms of the 4 visits per quarter. And, we'll be able to provide a little more background on that.
1 a quarter.
1 a
4
quarter,
per year.
sorry.
Yeah.
4 per year.
Any other comments, concerns, commissioners?
Okay, so
Ann?
I don't mean to hog the scene here. Thank you for the clarification of that. And you had said that that you target the businesses that are significant to our region and to our community, and that was what I wanted to know. My follow-up question was, when you're meeting with these businesses, are you there to enroll them in the Chamber of Commerce, or this is just as altruistic, you're there to guide and serve? And of course, it's best when they are involved, but
It's as altruistic as a binding contract can be. It's, I could point to the success of the Chamber of Commerce, primarily because we call ourselves out to a level of integrity, and we would rather show value and have them request information about becoming a chamber member than hard sell every business. And honestly, in some businesses, it may not be appropriate for them. You know, that is absolutely not what happens. And if my board of directors is listening, sorry.
Yeah, I had a question.
Hi.
You talked a little bit about your work with the West Sac Home Run. Nice to meet you also. Thank you for coming down
Yeah,
here.
nice to meet you.
I wanted to hear a little bit more about, it's not specific to this contract, but any work that you might be doing with the workforce board here in Yolo County in the city of West Sacramento, above and beyond the West Sac Home Run, or anything else that you got going on with
The
workforce?
two things, in many ways, are not related. The West Sacramento Home Run Initiative is an initiative of the city. And in that role, the chamber reaches out, there is an addendum to the contract that is not relevant to the economic development piece of it. And the chamber reaches out with a goal of improving employer participation by 10% every year. This year, we started the Home Run Initiative process with 50 available internships. We ended up with 34 through a rigorous screening process that is important, both for the employer and for the student, the minor student that you're putting into that environment. So that was very successful. We formed an employer cohort, and we met with them every 2 weeks just to touch bases. How are you doing? How can we help you? How can we answer questions? And the chamber became the primary contact for those employers, worked with the city set up the screening criteria, the chamber helped make sure that those business, and many of the internships fell out or opportunities fell out because it just wasn't a good fit for an internship. You know, like a 17-year-old out in 110 degrees, planning and pulling weights is probably, although that is a pathway. So that was definitely a success. On the Workforce Investment Board, as a representative of the business community in West Sacramento, I've sat on that board for the last 5 years, and some of the opportunities that have come to the community as a result of that engagement involve opportunities for the Workforce Investment Board has a contract with RISE, which works with the schools here. We're 23 square miles. So we can be flexible and nimble. If there's a funding opportunity, they know that we're interested. We have a career one-stop here, which is unusual. That was a hard-fought battle with a previous county supervisor to have that one-stop here, because we have a causeway and a lot of either dirt or water between us and other communities in Yolo County. They've been really effective in placement. We have a jobs fair that's coming
October 6th.
middle of October, like the 16th. For all of Yolo County, it will be here in our Galleria, giving our folks that might, in a perfect place across from the West Sacramento campus of Sacramento City College, to help create that atmosphere of potential and opportunity.
What's the
And
date
we-
again? The date,
I
please?
believe it's October the 16th, but I'm sure Diane can get you that information. And it's full. Everyone is interested in hiring right now. So are those the kinds of questions that you?
Yeah, in general, this is not specific to the contract. I appreciate you indulging me just a little bit.
No, not
I
at
was
all. The
very
more you
curious
know, the better all of us work together.
about workforce development in general in West Sac, and maybe down the road as you consider future partnerships with the city, that could be something that could be weaved into a contract like this down the road, a little bit more intentional on some of that. It sounds like you're doing very intentional work, but if we could wrap it into a better
As it
partnership.
stands right now, it's an economic development contract.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly workforce development is a goal, a mission of any chamber of commerce. What we, as Diane and I have had occasion to meet with 3 new businesses of significance coming into West Sacramento, they all have hiring needs. So we were able to connect them with, the California Apprenticeship Program, the training funds. And we also, the chamber produces a newsletter. You should, if you'll go online and sign up for it, we promise we won't annoy you. We will really only send you one newsletter a week. But at the bottom of that newsletter, we list all the job postings that we're advised of. So things like that. We also work closely with Washington Unified School District and the West Sacramento campus of Los Rios. They sit as ex officios on our board.
Thank you. Commissioner White?
Just a quick thing, Denise. Maybe because many of these folks here aren't board members, they don't know how many staff there are at the chamber and how much work.
We are a mighty, effective, proud staff of 3, including myself. So we are a volunteer-based organization. Our board of directors are all volunteers. And we are pleased that they represent a diversity of businesses in the region and in West Sacramento. And they are engaged. You know, it's not a titular. It's not a resume. It could be a resume builder because of the reputation of the city and the chamber. But having said that, they dig in and participate. Yeah, thank you, Chris. That was a good point.
Yeah.
Yep, there's
I mean,
3 of
really,
us.
I agree, because then you understand, or at least I understand, really, the enormity of the work you do with limited resources. Any other comments?
Hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Thank you so much for the report and
Welcome to
being
the
here.
commission.
Thank you. I was just curious about if you had any comments on the item B, the other economic development activities. It looks like a lot of those are sort of just if it comes up, but I didn't see anything in the report specific, and just curious if you had
Yeah,
any
I
comments
guess I was focused on deliverables. Yeah, so this does happen all the time.
Yeah.
And the reason it happened, honestly, the chamber has a very effective economic development and government affairs forum that is open to chamber members. We meet once a month, on the second Tuesday of every month, at NorCal Beverage in their big distribution center off of Massey Court. We have generally between 30 and 40 people in attendance. And this is, of course, not the outreach for special district or the PBID administration, because that was inserted at the request of the city as we look at this contract moving forward. But advocacy for economic development legislation is part of the job of the chamber. We are advocates. And development, the general plan update, the traffic study, the parks master plan, all of those went through several iterations coming through this group at the chamber, this group of 40 business leaders. And their input is accepted, maybe modified, maybe it can't be, but it's a very engaged, with department heads from the city, iterative process. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to meet you and learn about this because, I just really admire what the city is doing and just the spirit here of promoting new businesses and the role that you all have in that.
We have said for a very long time that in West Sacramento, the answer is rarely no. The answer is, how do we make this happen? And I would say that the collaboration between the city and the city leadership, an incredible staff. So there are 3 of us, but there's only 1 of her. And your whole department is what size? I mean, they're doing housing and economic development. So it's a perfect sweet spot of effectiveness, I would say.
Commissioner Bell, excuse me. White.
That's all right, White. You might also mention too, although we're a year away from it, how the chamber helps with the city election process and our candidate forum.
Yeah, and because you're all residents, you probably, I wouldn't, our role in the city election process is that of a community partner with the residents, because we have the wherewithal and the ability to produce a candidates forum. So you may have seen the candidates forum. It was on Facebook. It's on the city's website. It gets shared. We've been doing We've been providing that service for about 20 years. So the candidates for school board, the candidates for city council, the candidates for mayor all come in a neutral environment, and there is a informational debate. Yeah, people can come and be in the room, people can watch it on social media, people can watch it, the city also broadcasts it later.
Okay, are we ready to take a vote? Can I have a motion to send this report to City Council?
I'd like to make a motion to send it to City Council.
Can I have a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Thank you. Thank you for your work, and thank you for the nexus between the city staff, the business community. You're really doing some great work here.
We
Thank you.
really are. It's a pleasure, and thank you all for your time and service to our community. It's an important role of an effective civic function, and we appreciate your engagement and your support. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to general administrative function. Any general comments from the commissioners? General. Good. Moving on to staff updates. Any updates from staff?
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairperson and commission members. Katie is on vacation this week, so she was not able to attend the commission meeting, so I will be providing some updates that we have for you. So on November 18th, staff presented to the commission a discussion item on potential modifications to the city's existing economic development assistance program. In the fiscal year budget that was just approved by the council, funds were appropriated to further develop this program. And in October, on October 16th, staff anticipates presenting a workshop to the council, providing the additional details regarding the staff's recommended programs. The programs that will be presented to the council are consistent with the direction that staff received by this commission in November of last year. Staff also requested and received approval from the council to market the city's opportunity zone and to align the program with the city's enhanced infrastructure financing district policy. Staff anticipates presenting in a workshop format the draft EIFD policies to this commission at the next meeting, which I believe is going to be scheduled around December, early December. Also, at the last commission meeting, staff presented proposed amendments to the urban infill area incentive contained in the Housing Trust Fund program. Staff has released an RFP, a request for proposals, for planning services to assist in preparing support materials for these amendments. The planning work products will greatly improve the process for calculating density on mixed-use projects and projects with structured parking. We anticipate returning to the commission at either the December or January commission meeting to present the proposed updates to the urban infill area incentive along with the supporting material that are going to be produced by the consultant. In terms of notable calendar events, on September 26th, the state will host a California Indian Heritage Center tour at the site on Marina Way from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. On October 9th, Clean Start will hold a Central Valley Clean Tech Showcase from 9:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Admission for the event is free. And on October 12th, the West Sacramento Fire Department will have the Station 45 open house. It'll be held from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And on October 19th, the Mayor's Commission on Climate Change will hold a youth summit at River City High School from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Earlier in the meeting, we also passed out a couple of handouts for you. One of them is a flyer regarding the Get to Yes Business Resource Seminar that was just discussed quite a bit. The event will be held on October 10th, and it'll be held downstairs in the Galleria. We also provided copies of the Greater Sacramento Talent Story. The report is produced by CBRE and the Greater Sacramento Economic Council, and it documents the region's strongest talent base. Among some of the key findings that you'll find in the report is that Greater Sacramento leads the nation in the number of women-funded businesses, with 25% of all businesses in the region being founded by women. Greater Sacramento is also the top destination for Bay Area migration, with over 2,700 individuals migrating to the region annually. Sacramento is the third most popular city in the nation for millennials, with over 6,000 millennials moving to the city annually. And lastly, Sacramento is the sixth best small tech market in North America. Those are all the updates and calendar events that we have for you this evening.
Can you give me the date again for this Indian Museum event?
That'll be September 26th, tomorrow,
I missed that, okay.
from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m.
Okay. Mr. Huerta, thank you very much. Any other questions, Commissioners? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner, I believe we have one more update.
Oh, excuse me.
Just wanted to confirm the job fair that Yolo County will hold in the Galleria is October 16th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m., and that's open to the public. And I also want to mention that, excuse me, the Clean Tech Showcase, the city is sponsoring. We've invested in a sponsorship there so that we can go and meet promising young clean tech, clean energy companies, and so I'll be attending that event. And I do have one extra ticket if anyone from the commission is interested in attending. It's from 9:30 until 2 p.m.
And that date again?
October 9th.
Well, everything's happening, well, I shouldn't say that. I see the 19th of October. Seems like everything's happening early in the month of October. Any other updates?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Thanks.
I motion to adjourn.
A second, please.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.